Welcome to another Hollie Hotspurs live. But once again, we are talking about a win, ladies and gents. We are not in dreamland. We have actually won 3 in 3. It's crazy business. With me tonight to discuss that game and obviously the transfer deadline day that did happen yesterday, I have 2 brilliant guests with me. First of all, I have Stel from Tottenham away. Stel, how are you this evening?
I'm feeling a bit rough, but because it's your channel, I'm going to do this and I'm going to find a way through it. So I'm looking forward to it because it's you, Hollie.
Much love, Stel. I love that, mate. And we're also joined by Sam. Sam, how are you this evening?
Also feeling a bit rough. I woke up about 5 minutes ago, but like Castell has said, because it's your channel, we're going to do this. So talking Watford and talking transfers, looking forward to it.
Thank you. I really appreciate you both coming on when you feel like crap. So I do really appreciate that. Welcome to everyone else in the comments as well. Winksy is still sitting up there because he played well in the second leg. So, you know, we're living lavish. He can stay there. And it fuels everybody else's hate that don't like him. So it's great times. But obviously, we're going to start off with that Watford game where we have actually won another game. It is actually crazy to think about it. So I'll kick off straight away with you, Stel. Obviously, it was Sonny that scored that goal, and it actually came from a free kick. So how taken back we scored from a set piece this time?
Yeah, I mean, it was a weird one because he clearly meant to put it in a dangerous spot, but he also hit the target with the goal he got on the ball. And I think the goalkeeper was anticipating someone to get a touch on it. So when no one actually touched the ball, the goalie got caught off guard and it's just spun itself into the net. So some people will say it's lucky. Some people will say if you hit the ball on target, you got a chance. So I think it was a bit of both. I was at the game and we never really looked in trouble. The wingers of Watford attacked us quite well down the wings at times and we got caught out a few times. But overall, we were in control of the game. Watford played really defensive, very well organised. They were really well organised and it was hard to break down. But I think it was hard to break down partly because of the way they played and partly because of the way we're setting up, which we can get into later. I'm happy to talk about that. But overall, it's another win. It's 9 points, another clean sheet. Not a criticism, just something I want to see change. Just the style of football. I know it's still early. It's got to improve because just sitting up in the stands, I found myself playing on my phone once or twice and normally that's when you're bored, right? So just something for us to pick up on. But hopefully now the transfer window's shut, we know exactly what squad we got for the season. Nuno can really hit the ground, developing some good football and keep the wins coming in.
Exactly that. It is interesting you say that because obviously I was playing football myself, so I had to kind of watch the highlights. And even the highlights didn't really show you much of the game. It was a bit more like, oh, we scored a goal and then it was like, not a lot else kind of happened. So I come to you, Sam. Obviously, we saw that Kane started as well. What do you make, obviously, the Kane situation? We know he's staying. Do you think he's wholeheartedly in it? Or do you think that he's just trying to work himself so he can get into that England squad?
Well, he has to be wholeheartedly in it. Otherwise, he's not going to get himself moves to City or any other club that's bigger and pays a lot more money. But I think overall, we can look forward to this season of a committed Harry Kane. A contender for Golden Boot, that's for sure. And do you know what? It's just one of those things where it was a rough summer. He made a slight mistake in choosing his methods of saying how he wanted to leave Tottenham. His brother making a lot of mistakes as well on that matter as he was his agent. I mean, the guy literally has like a whole decorated office and motorbike in his office room, all for one client that he's representing. So that says a lot. But overall, I thought, you know what? Seeing Harry Kane in that starting lineup, that is something to look forward to. It's great that we've managed to keep hold of him. And you know what? Credit goes to Nuno for handling the situation really well.
100%. And I think it is quite awkward with Nuno coming in and obviously that all kicking off. You've got to give credit to the man in that kind of sense because he's kept his cool and he's managed to set up the team the way he wanted to, especially against City, and then to obviously then bring him into the side when it mattered. It has showed that he is kind of adapting and using Harry Kane to the full advantage. I mean, that being said, though, Stel, it means the likes of Lucas is kind of taken a back seat. And I don't know about you. I know I've got my faults with Lucas in the sense that sometimes he does hold on to the ball for far too long. But I thought he's really coming into his element in those first couple of games. So do you feel it's maybe a bit unfair on Lucas, or it's Harry Kane? You've got to play him regardless of who you start?
I'm surprised he hasn't had it in a transfer request because he just seems to get mugged off all the time. He gets us to the Champions League final and then he's dropped. He has a brilliant pre-season, starts playing well, gets dropped. It's like, what's he got to do to just cement a place in the squad? The poor guy, you know. I feel sorry for him. I think you're right. I think he was playing well. Yeah, he does hold it on for too long, but you could probably say every player's got, maybe other than Sonny, Kane and one or two others, pretty much every player's got something they've got to improve on. But yeah, no, I thought Lucas Moura was doing really well in the team, and you know what? I know it's controversial. I actually prefer the team when Kane isn't playing. I think we play differently. I think we play more as a team. I think we kind of up our game because we know he's not in the team, and when Kane's in the squad, it's like he's a focal point. Right, get the ball to Kane, find Kane. He becomes too much of a almost a bit of a Kane FC, but you're right. How can you drop him? He's the best player we got. You know, it would have been nice if we bought a top striker and we could have played with two up top with Kane. That would have been interesting because we've never done that. The whole time we've had Kane, we've never had two top strikers at the club. So, and it looks like, well, we're not going to do it again, are we?
No, but it is interesting you say that as well, though, because like you say, Kane is that focal point, and it seems to me like the whole side just focus around him. Whereas when he's not playing, everybody's just kind of got a free role of kind of expressing themselves. I mean, I come to you with this one, Sam. Stuart said about obviously it would make more sense to have dropped Bergwijn. Now, I don't know how you feel about Bergwijn. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about him that he's like a skinnier Adama in a sense that he hasn't really got any end product, shall we say. So would you have liked to see maybe Bergwijn dropped and Lucas played and Sonny out on the wing maybe?
I feel a bit sorry for Bergwijn, to be fair. I mean, he had a good start, you know, to score in his debut, and ever since, you know, okay, a few more goals here and there. Problem with Bergwijn is that he's got such good short bursts of energy down the wing, but you can't really see. It's not too often that he's actually stuck a ball in the net. Often you want to keep trying to start those players to restore a bit of confidence. And I feel like for this season, that's the final test for me on Bergwijn, if he can make it at Tottenham, because you've got to do a lot more than just running your socks off about. You've got to do a lot more. But look, I thought he played well against City. I thought everyone played well against City and put a bit of contribution in there. So let's not get on to Bergwijn just yet. It's going to take a little bit of time, but let's use that time to actually think properly our judgment on Bergwijn before jumping to those sorts of conclusions. He's just a young kid from Holland who is like, you know, trying to make a start. He made a good start, but at the moment things might not be working well. But just, you know, give him. My whole point is to just give the guy some time. And obviously, of course, yeah, he does need to work on his finishing. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, 100%. And it is true what you say. I think under Nuno, he might flourish. I don't know about you, Stel, but I feel like Nuno's given him a bit of faith. He seems to see something within Bergwijn that some of us are kind of sat here thinking, why are you still giving him a chance? But again, who knows? He wasn't really settled under Jose, I don't think, because I think Jose kind of played him a bit far too back. I don't know what your kind of thoughts are on it, Stel. What's your kind of thoughts on Bergwijn?
I think with Jose, if you're a really, really good player, like an 8 or 9 out of 10, he'll make you a 10 out of 10. He'll make you like an elite player. But if you're in that 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 category, he's not that great, Jose. And I think his man management skills with those types of players, he hasn't got the patience for it. And I think he just pissed off everyone in the club, really, who wasn't an elite player. And Bergwijn's in that category, so he kind of didn't really get much of a chance, and he made him defend a lot. So I think Nuno's I think Nuno's got everyone on his side. I think all the players have bought into him. I think they like him. And to be fair, right, when we got Nuno, I was like, I really wanted a top manager. And Nuno's not bad, but he's not elite. But I like the way he talks. I think he's very soothing. He's like a consultant, you know. If you're going to have an operation, he's the guy that you want to talk to you before you have the operation. You know, it's okay, everything's fine. We're going to do that. He's just like, oh yeah, okay, good. So I think people have bought into him. I think Sam said that he thinks Bergwijn's got this season to prove himself. I think there's about 5 or 6 players: Lo Celso, Ndombele, Bergwijn, Dyer, Sanchez, maybe more actually. Bloody hell, I'm going through the whole squad. I think there's a lot of players. Dele Alli, they've all got. If they don't do it this year, then I reckon they'll be gone, because we've shown we're prepared to get rid of a lot of players. So if they don't step up this year, I reckon they'll be gone at the end of the season.
I think it's harsh to put. Sorry, I think it's slightly harsh to put on Ndombele on that list, considering last season, up until we had Ryan Mason, I thought Ndombele was playing really well. It's just a shame, you know, that we're not seeing him right now, because we are lacking that creativity in the middle. You're not going to see it from Skip or Højbjerg, and that's why we really needed Ndombele.
Oh, Sam, sorry. What I meant is that those players I listed, if they don't prove themselves this year, either because the manager gives them a chance or unless they step up, then I don't see how they can stay. Like if Ndombele doesn't do well this year, I just don't see how we can keep him anymore. Like it's an expensive player to just have there just doing nothing. But I agree, he looks amazing. On his day, he looks like the best player we've bought in ages.
That's the thing, great natural talent, but not the best of attitudes. I mean, I remember seeing a report saying that the whole Ryan Mason thing of starting Harry Winks ahead ruined his confidence a bit. But then again, you know, as much as I was pretty annoyed at some of the things Ryan Mason was doing, this is still down to you, Tanguy, where you've got to prove people wrong and fight for your place. But I'm not a presenter here. Sorry, I don't want to steal the spotlight.
No, it's fine. It's discussion. That's what I mean. It's nice to let it flow, kind of thing. But with Ndombele, it is a tough one, because everybody knows he's got such a talent within him. He just won't show it every time. It's just not consistent. We just haven't reached that level yet. Now, I don't know whether, obviously, we'll get onto transfers, but I don't know whether his mates leaving, in the sense of Sissoko and Serge, will hopefully motivate him to actually perform on the pitch. Who knows, at a consistent level. But it's quite interesting to see that those two have now gone, that we might see the Ndombele that we've all kind of wanted to see. It is rather frustrating when you've got a player there and he just won't unlock himself. But I like the fact that, obviously, Stel, you talk about Nuno's soothing voice, because I think Nuno's soothing voice has kind of helped the likes of Dyer and Sanchez, because normally I'm the biggest advocate of getting on their backs, in a sense, because they stress me out. But they've actually done all right.
We all do, Hollie. We all get on their back. Every fan.
That is true, I suppose, when you put it like that. I'm not the only one. But that being said, do you think maybe Nuno coming in and saying, right, you guys have got to step up now, I need you to perform for me? Do you think they've had that conversation? And I don't want to say how long do you think it'll last, because I think everyone knows it's not going to last. But how long do you give it till you phase in the likes of Romero, and who would you partner up with him?
Yeah, no, you're right. We're all waiting for them to shit the bed at some point. It's kind of weird, because I think Skip and Højbjerg playing in front of them has given them a line of protection that is allowing them to be better defensively. But at the same time, playing Skip and Højbjerg, 2 holding mids every game, means we're not as attacking. So it's kind of a catch-22. What do you want? Do you want a better defence, or do you want a better attack? Well, there's got to be a balance. And then that leads on to what you said. If we bring in Romero and we go to a back 3, now we can go with 1 holding mid. And now we've got this Emerson who can get forward. We've got the 2 attacking fullbacks. Maybe that is the direction they're going to go in. I think Nuno's definitely made us more compact. We're more organised defensively. We don't get pulled out of shape. So that's just good coaching. That's Nuno coming in and just... In fact, it's kind of weird. The way we're playing at the moment, like, really good defending, organised, counter-attack. I thought this is what Jose was going to do when he came in. This is what I thought how we were going to play under Jose. But Jose like parked the bus massively. Saying that though, we beat Burnley 5-2. We scored 6 at Southampton and 6 at Man U. So just contradicts
I know what
myself.
you're saying though.
We do you know what? As the season went on, we became too defensive. That's it. We're kind of defensive, but if we go 1-0 up, we don't park the bus. We keep going. We try and get another counter. So it's weird. I just think we're better organised. And I think the players are on board. They believe in the manager. They're prepared to give it a go. The test will be when we hit a bump, when it comes unstuck, when something goes wrong, what happens then? Because that just completely rocked us last year. As soon as that West Ham and Liverpool, we played those two, it's like we collapsed. Let's see what happens when we... Let's say we go 2-0 up in the game and we lose 3-2, we draw 2-2. Let's see what the reaction is after that. That'll be the test for me. Because at the moment, it's shades of last season, but not... without the misery.
I agree with that in a sense, because obviously we've had those 1-0 wins, but we haven't conceded. Whereas that last year kind of was the opposite. We kind of left it, we scored and then we waited, and then the other team scored and it was like, oh, brilliant. So that being said, Sam, going forward, do you think Romero will slot in after the international break, or do you think Nuno will just keep it going while it's working?
Yeah, this Dyer Sanchez, the fact that Dyer and Sanchez are in the equation just, should be a lot more obvious with what your answer is. I don't even want to make it come across that I don't like to see Dyer and Sanchez doing well at the moment. But you know what? I've seen it too many times where it's a few good games. Everyone is just going to be saying oh, now you got to give them chances, or these were the players that we knew performed well, until you play Chelsea or Liverpool or United or City. No, we beat City. Until then, and then things just like Stelios said, just things will fall apart. It's so difficult because I've had arguments with this with other Spurs fans before, where some think that Dyer and Sanchez are the types of players that can play better if they're coached well. I disagree with that. I think old habits just keep happening. And I've seen this too many times. Like I said earlier, for Romero to slot in would be good. I was pretty impressed with him, not in the first leg against Pacos, but in the second leg, I was really impressed with him. I loved his long passing, just like how Toby Alderweireld would do it. Loved that. I'd be really looking forward to seeing Romero play. The question is, would we stay with a 3? Would we stay with a 4 at the back, which means is it Dyer or Sanchez that will get put on the bench, or will we do a 3 at the back with wing backs? Does that also mean Nuno might try and revive as well Doherty and play him as a right wing back, and before giving our new right back signing any chances? That just remains to be seen. Personally, for me, I don't want us to get used or comfortable to the idea to keep playing Dyer and Sanchez until a mistake happens. I'm not really comfortable with that. So I feel like international break has come at very good timing to decide for Nuno what's he going to do with his starting lineup in regards to what defensive formation and who's going to play there.
But Sam, how sorry, Hollie, how do we, right, this is something that goes through my head. How do we change what we're doing defensively when we haven't conceded a goal? It's almost like, I agree with you, we're waiting for a mistake. We all are. Deep down, we all are. But how can we change it when we've got the best defensive record in the league? It's like
it's
we're
typical,
fixing
isn't
something. Do you know what? I don't think Nuno thought these two were going to do well. I think it's cool. I mean, it's a good problem to have, but it's just no one thought this was going to happen. This is such a Spursy thing to happen, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, Lee's come up with a question here for all of us. Could we see the case of Romero and Rodon in the middle? Or do you think it will be obviously Sanchez out or Dyer out for just Romero? I mean, I don't even know what's happened to Rodon. I don't know whether anybody can share some light on it. I just don't know where he's gone.
He was injured, then he was unwell. I think he's coming back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I thought he played particularly well in the Euros for Wales. It was very attractive football, defensive football that Rodon was playing, pretty much against some like really tough nations as well. Okay, a lot of the Wales squad happened to also be some Championship, and I think even a few of them are League One players. I'm not 100% sure. So for Rodon to pull that sort of performance is very impressive. Again, though, I've seen Rodon just like rushed into first team football, like against Liverpool at home when we lost, and he is a young player, so we obviously don't want his confidence to be knocked. But you know, I am hoping this season we will get to see more of him, because he does have a lot to offer, and he's only 22, maybe 21. I don't even know. He's a young centre back, that we can look forward to.
Exactly that, and I just want to obviously, because we're talking about obviously the young prospects, and that is also Tanganga, because obviously now we've got Emerson coming in. Yeah. I feel like, because obviously Tanganga was on the verge of obviously leaving to go on loan. And obviously, I think Nuno and Tanganga has obviously had a conversation about where he's going to play next season. Now, do you think maybe Emerson coming in might change the dynamic at all? Or do you think it's suited as it is right now, do you think? I'll throw it out to either of you. I don't know. Who wants Stel, do you want to have a go at answering that maybe? Or talking about the Tanganga situation?
Yeah, I'd like to see Tanganga in on the right side of a back three. I think he's an option for the back three, because that's where he's a centre back by trade. So I'd love him to play there. The other thing I've noticed as well with Tanganga, it's so weird. If we play a really, really big team like a Liverpool, a Man City, he's outstanding, like really good. As soon as we play kind of a middle of the road team, he's all right. He's okay. You know, he's not as good. He just seems to raise his game for those big matches. I don't know. How, you know, they're meant to be harder, but he does better in those games. So. Look, at the end of the day, we need someone that can get up the right wing and can cross and cut in and create assists and score, and someone that can get back and defend as well. So Tanganga's not that player. So Emerson has to come in if he is that style of player.
Yeah, 100% agree. I agree with that completely. We look at the City game, you know, Reguilon plays pretty much a role that invited attacking from a defensive stance, whereas, like you also said, Tanganga was able to fill up a centre-back / right-back / right wing-back role. So we need to reserve Tanganga for those sorts of games, especially when we're playing teams like City, where we will need that interchangeable style of play within the defence. Whereas, you know, like you also said, Tanganga doesn't seem to show his performance as well against the smaller teams. And then that's when Emerson would come into the equation.
And it is interesting you said that as well, because I did notice as well when he's trying to put crosses into the box that kind of really met no one, or they were blocked by the first man, and that's what used to really irritate me with Serge. So maybe it is true, maybe we've got Emerson in just to switch up the dynamic now and again, and Nuno and Tanganga have that agreement that he is going to be the right back in those big games. Who knows, because he was rumoured to obviously go out on loan, but I think they've had that conversation because he was happy to stay. But that being said, I mean, it was a win. We can't moan too much. We're just lucky there was 1-0, I suppose, and they didn't really offer any threat anyway. So that's another one under the belt. And obviously we move on to deadline day, which was yesterday. Now, I know there's mixed feelings across the board, across the whole of the Spurs fan base. But obviously let's start with the outs, because don't get me wrong, I think it was a good window in the sense that we got the dead wood out that we've needed to get out for a very, very long time. So Stel, I'll start with you first. What are your makings of obviously the people we got rid of?
Sorry, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. I think we actually did really well. I think the players that we got out of the squad, we've done really well to get rid of that many players. I know a few, their contracts ended, so they were gone because contracts were up, Bale and Vinicius. And then there's a couple that just, it was the end of their loan. Yeah, they're on loan. Their contracts ended, the loan contract. Then some just left on a free. Danny Rose, Lamela, Gazzaniga. So we didn't renew their contracts. They've gone. And we actually sold, I think, 3 or 4. Foyth, Alderweireld, Sissoko, Aurier. No, Aurier, another, just a contract ended. So that's a lot of players there that needed to go at some point. You probably would have wanted Lamela, Toby, Foyth kind of the latter ones to go. You'd rather get rid of a few more before then. But look, if the opportunity comes, you've got to get rid of them. So we got rid of them. And I think by the next summer, we would have got rid of all the deadwood because we've got rid of so much. So I actually think Tottenham, I can't believe I'm praising Tottenham, but I am. I actually think we did really well when it came to the players out. And it means now, if Højbjerg or Skip get injured, Sissoko can't come on. If Tanganga gets injured, Aurier can't come on. You know, and these are good things. You know, if Lloris is injured, Hart is not the goalie. These are good things.
Yeah, 100%.
So I'm happy with it with the outs.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing to take into consideration as well, because obviously when those players did step in, the whole thing just kind of dropped off to a peak.
Yeah.
You obviously bring in Sissoko, and it was just, oh my God. Yeah, we don't even need to talk about Sissoko. I mean, John has said there is obviously some other planks in the squad. Now, Sam, I'll come to you. Obviously, it's quite hard to get rid of all that deadwood in one transfer window. So that being said, what are your kind of thoughts and the outs, shall we say, on the transfer deadline day?
I think context actually matters a lot here, especially before you give a rating, because, you know, before we even had Paratici come in, we were a football club stuck without a manager for 60 plus days, had all this deadwood. And I think that a lot of progress, if anything, too much progress has been done than expected to get to where we are right now. So I think, you know, if it hasn't been done right this season, well, there's definitely been an attempt made. We've got rid of a lot of deadwood, like you said, to lose Sissoko, to lose Aurier. Toby Alderweireld, okay. I never really saw him as much of a deadwood, and I was quite sad to see him go, but at least we did make ends meet by getting Romero in. And on top of that, we've also managed to sign a fullback from Barcelona. Sorry. Just had a call. Managed to sign...
He's going to be on another stream. That's what it is.
So I think I'd give this transfer window 7 out of 10. And I give a lot of credit to Paratici, the Italian bloke that doesn't sleep. And I can tell that he doesn't sleep because it would take a sleepless effort to fix even a small problem of what's going on in our club. So fair play to him.
I think there does need to be a lot of credit handed to him because, like I said, I don't think we would have even seen this if we didn't have a director of football, and one especially of the name of, I can't say his name, so I just call him Don Fabio. But I think obviously the other hand of the tail is obviously the ins. Now, I know it's not obviously the best kind of transfers we could have had in, but I also think it could have been a lot worse. So Stel, I'll come to you. What's your kind of thoughts on obviously the people we brought in? I don't think they're the players necessarily for right now, but I think with the ages that we've let go and then bringing in this young prospects of talent, I think isn't the worst case scenario.
So I praised Tottenham 8 out of 10 for the players out, and I give us a 4 out of 10 for the players in. I don't think we've done great at all. And this is just my opinion. Not being negative, because I've praised what we've done with the players out. I just feel that what we've done is we've brought in players for the future. We're hoping that they adapt to the Premier League, hit the ground running, and everything goes swimmingly well, like we've done in the past with Bergwijn and Sessegnon and Vincent Janssen. I'm not going to go through the whole list. And we're also hoping on top of that Lo Celso and Ndombele, Bergwijn all hit the ground running, have a good... There's so many ifs and buts and hopes that I just feel like this is typical of every season that we go into. It's too many unknowns. I just want to see a season where we buy players and we're certain. Right, we buy Dybala, we know he's going to be good. You buy Bruno Fernandes, you know he's going to... I just want players to come in that we know are going to do good. I know that doesn't always happen. There's always one that doesn't work out or something, but I mean, if you look at it, the goalkeeper Galini, he had a good season in Italy. He's Italy's number 2, but when he played for Aston Villa in the Premier League, he wasn't very good. It didn't last. They got rid of him. So I'm 50-50 with him. Emerson Royal, he hasn't really played for Barca. He mainly played for Real Betis on loan, and he had a really good season there. But this is the Premier League. I think he'll be good, though. I think. Romero, he looks like the pick of the bunch. We've spent the most on him, and I'm confident with him. I think that is the kind of signing I want to see Tottenham be making. Sarr, I know a lot about Sarr because in youth football, my network of friends, coaches, they've been following him. He's a top player, Hollie. He's a really, he's got the makings of a Yaya Toure. And for 18, he's a shithouse, like brick house. He's brilliant, he's got it. He's got the whole package, but he's gone on loan, so that's great for a year's time, and then he's gonna have to come back and adjust. And then we've got Brian Hill, who I've got a good feeling about him. You know, just watching him, the way he moves, the decisions he makes, the way he moves off the ball. He's a brain, and he looks very active. He's everywhere, and he looks like someone that's going to cause problems. But there's a lot that needs to come together there, and there's a lot of young players that need time. Plus, with the additional young players in the squad like Tanganga and Rodon and Skip, and I just think that we needed a bit more certainty. If we'd bought a second striker, like a Danny Ings or a Jimenez, and we bought a creative mid, I would have said, what a top transfer window. That is absolutely sublime. So overall, I'd give it a 6. So 4 plus the 8 divided by 2 over 20. There you go, a bit of maths. I'll give it a 6. I'll give it a 6. I think we should have done more with the players in, and we're just hoping a bit too much on the existing players at the club to step it up, which today most of them haven't. So, but listen, I'm open-minded. It's Nuno's Tottenham. Let's see what he does.
It is interesting still, because like you said, obviously I don't have the technical nous you have with like your contacts and things to know about these certain players. So it's quite interesting to see what you say about Sarr. But again, he's gone out on loan, so we've got to wait for him to come back.
Technical nous, yeah, that's
technical
nice.
nous. There you go. You can have that one.
it's called a phone call.
Yeah, I suppose that's the bog standard way of saying it. But no, I think it's quite interesting the way you say that, and it is true. Like, we are hoping a lot. I just don't know whether Sam, maybe in the January transfer window, we have another injection of getting some other young players in, or someone that is substantially. So I'll give it to you now, Sam. What are your kind of takes on the ins? What's your kind of like first thoughts?
Yeah, I do agree with Stelios that there could have been more done on that matter. But like I said before, you know, it is context for me. And I didn't think we were going to make a statement signing of a centre-back. That's to start with. And yeah, okay, I know a lot of the signings are then just like prospects or, you know, a second keeper that we've signed, etc. I think, though, come January, I don't want to sound optimistic, but maybe we will be able to actually make a signing or two, because I know that Romero's is an obligation to buy. So I know that when you do that, you basically still have money left in the bank, if I'm not mistaken. So that being said, that's clever business from the board. So one could hope that, you know, come January, when we've got a better understanding of how our season has been, there could be some players that we sign here. Overall, I'd say, you know what, I'm going to give the same rating as well. For the players that have come in, I'm going to say 6 out of 10, maybe a 6.5 out of 10, actually. Perspective again, and, you know, we've done so well to actually try and even fix part of the problem. And I like to give my credit to those like Patrici that have helped to try and sort that. So, and also like Stel said as well, this is Nuno's first season. This is Paratrici's first season. Yeah. So I don't really want to start getting in on them that quickly, because they've all made attempts and efforts to try and fix what was a really, really bad mess from last season. So let's see where the season goes. You know, we're currently first. They're currently 20th. We've kept some clean sheets throughout. So, you know, let's just like calm it down a bit and wait until the going gets tough, and we'll think about what needs to be done.
Did you see the Sky Sports video that's doing the rounds of Tomiyasu, the player we were after that went to Arsenal?
No.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but carry on.
So, you know, you got the transfer deadline day. You got the two. I forgot name. Is it Kavanagh and the other dude sitting opposite each other? Then you got the host in the middle.
Oh yeah.
And then the host goes to both. Tomiyasu, he's reading off he's been given information. He goes, he was offered to lots of Premier League clubs, but most of the Premier League clubs were umming and ahhing because he's not quite a right back and he's not quite a centre back. He's neither. So they weren't sure where to play him because he doesn't play in either. He's not either one of the two positions. So the club said no. So Arsenal have bought him. Where do you think Arsenal will play him? And the Sky Sports panel started cracking up laughing. And they're pissing themselves laughing. Like, what have Arsenal done? What do you mean? Where they're going to play? They don't know what they've bought. And then one of the guys, he just couldn't speak, so the host had to take over again and go, I think he'll play right back. Oh yeah.
Oh no.
Do you know what? I've got to find you. I'll send it to you on WhatsApp. I've got to find it.
Yeah, send it to me. That'd be sick. Oh my days. And that's
Brilliant.
the thing. I mean, we were linked with him from the start, weren't we? And obviously something down the pipeline just wasn't going to sit happy. So then we managed to get Emerson over the line. I don't know whether that was a ploy to go after Emerson. I feel like I keep calling him Don Fabio because I can't say his first name. But I feel like that's what they keep doing. He kind of like chucks one in the mix, so they all go and follow that one, and then actually goes after someone else. But that being said, obviously Lee said here that no second striker and still not replacing Eriksen still leaves us short. Now that is very true, and I feel like it's been very true for a very, very long time. Now, still, why is it? Why I know you can't get into the mind of the bald egg Daniel Levy, but why is this? Do you think it's just because nobody's going to play second fiddle to Harry Kane on the bench? I don't know. Why are they trying to wait for Ndombele to become the new Eriksen? I just don't really understand.
I don't think they want to pay the money. You know, on the one hand, we had 90 million euros to spend to buy Martinez from Inter Milan. We didn't buy him. Where's that 90 million gone then? Unless it's all gossip, transfer talk, and it's all hype and it's not really happening. But we were linked with Vlahovic, Martinez. They were both 50, 60 million pound players. We never spent that money. This was after we bought Romero. So I just think they don't want to spend the money. I think that's what it comes down to. To get a top striker, you're looking at least 50, 60 million. Unless you buy someone who's older, you can get a bit more. You get the price down. Like Danny Ings, I think would he go for 25, 30 million to Aston Villa, something like that?
Who, Danny Ings?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was 25.
Yeah, so we could have spent the money and bought Danny Ings. I would have taken Danny Ings for a year or two, but they probably look at it as, but we can't sell him on for more. Where's the value in it? So for me, the answer to the question about the striker is I just think it stinks of Levy. That's my answer to that. As for the creative mid, they probably looked at it and thought, do we try and get the best out of Lascelles? So the fact that Ndombele was staying means they're going to probably try and do something there. I think they made a decision to try and get the best out of the players they've got rather than spend the money and get an established player. And this is what I said to you at the beginning when I said there's a lot of ifs and buts with this season. A lot of players have to come together and step it up. And I think we're taking a big risk with what we've done, but time will tell. You know, like I said, I'm going to give Nuno deserves a chance, and if he can get a number out of them, then you know what? Wow, what a good manager we've got.
Be a good tune, wouldn't it? But that is the thing, like you said, I mean, we don't want to spend big money on old players because, like you said, Levy and the board won't make a profit from that. So, Sam, what's your kind of thoughts? Do you think, obviously, we are waiting for Ndombele and Lascelles to step it up? Do you think Nuno can get the best out of them? Or, like Stel said, do you think it's just a chance we're willing to take?
It's a bit of both, really, isn't it? I mean, at the moment, we haven't got Ndombele to step up. So we're just counting our luck, and our luck has so far worked in our favour. I want to actually make a point, though, on this whole, why we didn't sign for a striker thing. This is such a Levy thing, etc. I think one of the issues as well was the fact that we didn't know if we were going to keep hold of Kane. And when we were bidding these large numbers, clubs were under the impression that we were not only going to lose Kane, but we were going to get the money that we wanted for Kane. Sure. So they would be stepping up their price, going like, well, you've got more money, so up your bid a bit. And, that's why I think that was the main issue with Martinez at Inter, along with the owners and the board in dispute, because I think the owner was happy to let him go. The board did not want to let him go. In the end, it all boiled down to pretty much Martinez saying, "Oh, I want to stay at Inter." So that kind of like ended it, because I think at that point Kane wanted Kane. It looked like we were going to keep hold of Kane, and we weren't in a position to try and offer more money. So I think it was the way the board handled the situation, with the impression of losing Kane and not upping the money. That's one aspect of it. Had we got Ings, it would have been a very different outcome of how we'd be feeling. Now, it looks like we're going to be rested on Son or Bergwijn to be backup striker, maybe even Dane Scarlett. And I don't want that unnecessary pressure on Dane. You know, he should be having that for Europa Conference League. So basically, Kane, please don't get injured this season. That's all it is to it.
I know, we need to cross our fingers, because I can't be living through that again. I'm going to throw this one to you, Stel, because obviously your coaching knowledge. Do you kind of agree with what Scott's saying here? I kind of want to see your insight, sort of thing.
I feel we've been using Lo Celso incorrectly. He plays with great fluidity and attacking prowess for Argentina. See Copa America play. Scott, where does he play for Argentina? What position? I didn't watch Copa America. Tell me what position he plays, and I'll tell you. I think he should be an attacking mid. I don't think he should be out wide. I like him attacking mid, sometimes dropping centre mid, picking up the ball and driving with the ball, because he can play a pass and he can take on a man, and he has got to turn the pace as well, Lo Celso, when he gets through the gears. The problem with Lo Celso is he can't stay fit. He's always getting injured. He's always, he'll get a good rhythm going together, a bit of momentum, and then before you know it, he's out. If he could just stay match fit when his chance comes, he'll prove himself. But he just needs to stay fit to keep his place. I don't like it when he's shifted out wide. It doesn't work for me. We play with the 3 and Lo Celso's wide. It doesn't work for me. I think he needs to be a number 10. But the problem is, you've got Dele Alli number 10. I think Lucas Moura's best position is down the middle. Lo Celso's best position is down the middle, and Ndombele's best position is somewhere in the middle. It's like there's a lot of players in that area. I think this is why I don't like 2 holding mids. 1 holding mid, and then you can free up more midfield players. I would like 1 holding mid and 2 attacking mids, because I think that's where our strengths are. I think we've got more players that can play in that position. So when we're playing like Manchester City and we're playing with 2 holding mids, a bit more of a defensive shape, I get it. I totally get it, because we're not going to go toe-to-toe with them. And when we play Chelsea at home in a couple of weeks, we should do the same thing. Try and play like we did against Man City, the same setup. But when you've got Watford at home, and they're not the best team, I think we should just be a bit more adventurous, just take a bit more risk. They're Watford. They hardly troubled us. I think we should be going at those teams a bit more, because we did it on Thursday night. We played 3 at the back, 1 holding mid, and that's the best football I've seen us play under Nuno. I really thought, wow, this is nice. Lo Celso looked good. Even your friend Winksy was doing well, Hollie. He was playing all right. Listen, I wrote it down. I've got to say that at some point on the show.
I like it. You've learnt well, Stel. With that being said, obviously we have got a little break, but I thought I'd slot it in now, just because then when I'm stressed at work, I don't have to think about doing a preview show. So obviously the Palace game is our next game. So Sam, I'll come to you first. What do you kind of think we're going to, not necessarily set up, but what do you kind of think is going to kind of carry on in that game? Do you think we're going to carry on with the momentum we've got so far, or do you think the break is maybe going to shuffle things up a bit?
Well, hopefully key players don't take a knock during the break. That's one thing. I'd like to think the momentum will carry on, but to be playing at Selhurst Park with an atmosphere, that's going to be tough. I know the last time we played them, we didn't get the result we wanted. Pretty much made their keeper, what was his name? Guaita, I think it was. Looked like a prime Manuel Neuer. So we don't want to see repeats of that. I feel like Palace will be a tougher opposition than Watford, that's for sure. They've also been busy in the market. They just signed a striker from Celtic. I forgot his name, but they've signed that bloke. They've been very busy in the market doing some signings. So I think that we need to try and play some freestyle attacking football rather than just a bunch of CDMs in the middle doing most of the work for the game throughout, and we don't see too much of attacking football, because I feel like we can't keep on, although it's good that our manners of 1-0s, we can't keep doing that, if that makes sense. We've got to try and make a statement with attacking football. And Nuno has proven at Wolves that he can play very attacking football, especially when he's had Traore and Raul Jimenez to manage. So, he's got Harry Kane and Heung-min Son in the team. So I'd like to think that it would be a bit more than a 1-0. It's definitely winnable, but this is also down to the consistency of our centre-backs. I know someone in the comments said that there will be a centre-back who won't be able to play. No Romero, Sanchez, Lo Celso for Crystal Palace match. Okay. Is that because of South American football or?
It's because they've got the what do you call it when you come back from a country that's in amber zone? You've got to
Self-isolate.
That's it. Isolate. Well done.
Yeah.
Okay. Isolate.
Yeah. So
I was just like this. I ain't got a clue.
Yeah. So it looks like it will be either Tanganga and Dyer or Rodon and Dyer starting. So that's down to them as well. So there's big ifs for this game, but it's overall I still think it's winnable, but you can't underestimate Palace there, especially with fans back at their grounds. Let's put it that way.
Especially with the it's called the Ultras, isn't it? They're super fan base, shall we say?
It's not even about the Ultras. It's just a loud atmosphere at their ground. So that's what we've got to look out for. If anything, 12th man and that.
South London v North London.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, that is being said as well, and obviously they have got a new man in charge, and obviously they have got some new players in as well. So they kind of are under transition too. So do you think, in that kind of sense, Stel, we may have the upper hand in the sense that we're obviously got 0 goals conceded? Or do you think with these defenders being out and having to switch it up, could that be a bit of an issue for us? Or do you think we'll just ride it and be all right?
Bit of both. We're being forced to change the defensive lineup, which has been working. That's what I was saying earlier on about, do you change something that's not broken? Well, we're going to have to now because players can't play. Because of that, we probably will play with 2 holding mids again, as that cautious protection, because we don't know what the players coming in are going to play like. I think Palace is one of those sides. They're so inconsistent. Like they got a brilliant result. Is it West Ham they drew with 2-2 the other day? Was it Palace? I think it was Palace.
Yeah, they had their Chelsea loan player. I forgot his name. This blonde guy. I forgot his name. But he's on loan from Chelsea, and he's so far. Yeah, he had his. I think that was his first game, and he scored the 2 goals. So that's a player to look out for as well. Yeah. I forgot his name.
Ready for Tottenham.
Yeah.
Was it Dennis? No, it wasn't Dennis.
Then what was it? Hang on, I'll go and find it out now.
But Palace are like that. They'll get a result against a team you don't expect, but then they'll play another team and you think, okay, Palace should win that, and they lose it. So
Gallagher,
his
name's Gallagher.
So you don't know what Palace are going to be like. I think we're going to be. I think we'll set up pretty much how we have been so far. Very organised, very disciplined, fairly defensive, and just look to pick them off on the counter attack. The good thing is, if we go 1-0 up, we're not going to sit back and just absorb pressure. We'll try and get the second goal.
No, fingers crossed. Anyway, I mean, it may be too soon in advance, but what do you guys kind of think in your score prediction, shall we say? So I'll go with you, Sam. What are you kind of feeling? What are you hoping for, shall I say?
I'd be happy for a 2-0 win, to be honest, because at least that shows that we're not just reliant on 1-0 or our only capability is 1-0 wins. So I'd be happy with the 2-0 personally.
2-0. I like the sound of that. How about you, Stel? What are you kind of feeling?
I think we'll concede because the defence is being changed. I think either 1-1 or 2-1.
1-1 or 2-1.
I'll be positive. 2-1 Tottenham. 2-1 Tottenham.
I like that. That would be sound. I mean, it'd be nice to obviously continue that winning feeling at the moment, because it has been a very long time coming, especially after all the havoc of last season. It's quite nice to just be stress-free for a little bit. Be nice to see how long that lasts, though, sadly. But Nevertheless, hopefully that'll be 4 wins, which will be fabulous. But I'd like to thank you both for coming on. It was nice to chat about that game and obviously the transfers. So we'll do the round. So I'll start with you, Stel. Where can everybody find you doing your thing?
Tottenham away. Got a show. When's our next show? When is our next show? Great. Good. Oh, Friday we've got a new show. Two lads from America are doing a show from the States on our channel, Jacob and Michael. Friday 7 p.m. and then next Monday, fingers crossed, on our podcast, we I think we've got Mickey Hazard live. I think.
Oh, nice.
Let's see. If we do, I'm gonna have to be on my best behaviour.
I was gonna say.
Yeah,
you have to rein it in still.
I know. I might not talk. Just sit there and let everyone else talk.
Oh dear. Make sure you go and check out Tottenham away. Like I say, they're class people and they've got a class guest on next week. So living lavish, so to speak. So make sure you go check out them. And also, Sam, where can everybody find you doing your thing as well?
Yeah, find me on my YouTube channel, Sam Chippeck. The name's right there next to me. I'm almost on 16k subscribers, funnily enough. I've been stuck on 15k for a while, so it's really nice. I'm about to up a level in subscribers. So yeah, anyone on this live stream, help me get closer to 16k subscribers. Thank you. And thank you, Hollie, for having me on.
No, awesome. Make sure you guys check out Sam. You need to get into 16k. Get on it, people. And also, I'd like to thank everyone in the chat. Chris has put out a message to everyone with a great surname, Chris. I say that every time. But thank you very much, everyone that was in the chat. Like I say, I'm not very good at multitasking, but it's nice to have you all in here. Until next time, obviously, there won't be another live Hollie's Hotspurs probably till after the Palace game. There might be a Hollie's Hot Takes here and there, but we'll have to see how much the kids at school kill me off. But until next time, I'll see you all soon. See you later.